and gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Hey everybody, look at that. People are chatting in chat before we've even had a chance to chat. How about that?
Nice.
Guys, welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by the #1 producer in late night. It's Dave Willimowski. Dave! Hey, how are you doing?
There we go. Okay. I'm a little rusty.
Are we on a delay now? Like, what the hell's going on? Everything was so fine 10 minutes ago, and now...
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I blew out my voice. This is bad. We're 32 seconds into the show, and I blew my voice out laughing at the intro. That's really bad, but that's all right. We're gonna power through it. Looking sharp. Hey, Ryan. You're looking sharp, buddy. Yeah. You know what I think we should do? We should say that the Saturday night event in May is suit and tie. Wouldn't that be nice? Everybody's going to be, because we're going to have that nice place to have the dinner and do the show. Yeah. We should tell everybody, yeah, come dressed up. I mean, me and Dave will be dressed up because we're doing a show. Yeah, so let's. I'm gonna update the event and say, yeah, it's gonna be suit and tie affair, for the Saturday night. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. You think people would be? What do you guys think? You guys in chat that are coming to the Dave, tell them about the live event. Tell them about the event.
The event is it's gonna be. I don't know all the details. I can bring it up.
Jesus Christ! What do you think I was saying?
You told me to tell
the 8th annual It's Too Late live show happening Saturday, May 16th. If the number 2 person in charge of this whole outfit doesn't know the details of the event, then how could anyone?
May 16th.
But
all right.
Yeah, it's May 16th. Yeah, but you got to get your tickets. Isn't that right, Dave? But you got to get your tickets.
Put it in my calendar.
Yeah, put it in your calendar. Get your Zoom link set up. We'll all sit down and talk about it. Yeah. Oh, that place is going to be so nice, y'all. It's the River Bend Ranch and Retreat here in beautiful Middle Tennessee. It's something like 100 acres out there. They situate us in a row of condos right in the middle, away from civilized society. Like they know, you know what I mean? They know.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. It's definitely.
Yeah, but don't take that as an invitation to be.
No.
To be how you are, just. So I think everybody should wear a suit and tie. Ladies wear a nice dress, not a pantsuit. You're not a lesbian, for God's sakes. You wear a nice dress, and fellas, wear a suit and tie. Maybe at least a button up and some slacks. Don't just
not
don't
the
come in
polo
there.
Jeans.
No. If you come in there wearing your New Balances and your, I swear to God. So anyway, that Saturday, May 16th. I don't know why this has become such a sticking issue here at the start of the show, but everybody needs to get their tickets because we did this big announcement about the event, and within the week of us making that announcement, we just shot up to half of the tickets were sold.
Yeah,
and then didn't sell a single one since then. Not a single damn one. So we have to. So next week, because no one remembers anything, we'll do another episode where we're announcing the live event, and we'll just pretend we haven't already done it, and then we'll sell the other half, and then that's it. And then we're done. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So anyway, I'm wearing a t-shirt with a pocket because I'm fancy.
With a pocket.
Yeah. Security will have that man escorted from the premises. If I was there, I'd wear a suit jacket and tie, but F the button up.
Ooh.
You don't wear a jacket over a shirt that doesn't have buttons. I feel like the only way you could get away with that is if you were wearing a turtleneck type, sweater type thing, and you had a blazer over that. But you do know this is going to be Middle Tennessee in May. So think about it. It's going to be air conditioned, by the way, in the building. Don't freak out. Just
think.
Yeah, I know. Just don't even start. The Olympics are over. Did you watch any of the Olympics?
I watched a lot of the Olympics. Every evening we'd come home and watch an hour or two. Yeah.
What was your
favorite?
The
Peacock.
Oh.
Mostly the bobsled stuff we've been watching. I like the snowboarding stuff. That's pretty cool. But the skeleton, the luge, bobsled. There's some now they got a one-man bobsled, or maybe it's just one woman. I don't think the guys did it like that.
Yeah.
But
Skeleton is so
crazy.
interesting because it's bobsled, but for that one guy that just throws caution to the wind completely.
Oh yeah.
Just doesn't even
I'm
bother
going
with
head
safety.
first.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Right.
those guys are sitting in a bobsled that is like aerodynamically designed to go down the thing. The skeleton just says, "No, it's me. I'm the bobsled. Watch me go." Yeah.
I will hit the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Though that's what I will look like when I try the bobsled and I'm ejected. then it becomes a skeleton. And then I become a skeleton. Yes, that's right. God, I wish we had laugh reacts. That was a good one. Ryan
man.
says, "Answer my question, Alan. We don't have viewer mail this week because I posted the viewer mail post on Monday and literally got 0 questions, and so it's canceled by after that. We're not doing this business where we're showing up Wednesday afternoon asking for more questions. Those days are in the rear view. Except for Ryan did just resubscribe to the Twitch, so
He did.
I'm sorry. Automod using their new smart detection technology just stopped Ryan from saying gay. It's Christmas in February. He just feels gay. He's just trying to celebrate. You owe me, LOL. Let's not do that. Let's not get into our let's not fight. Ryan, type your question, Ryan, and try to avoid words that are going to get you auto-modded, and I will answer your question. Also, Derek just resubscribed at tier 2. So actually we're going to answer Derek's question and not Ryan's question now.
Okay.
Because that's how it works when you get and Aaron, who's our mod, reached a 7-stream streak, but he's the mod, so yeah. No, now it's ruined. Yeah. Ryan, I swear to God, I'll look it up. I'm doing a live show here, Ryan. Could you just help the host out by just typing the question in chat so that I don't have to go look it up on their social media platforms? I didn't watch a single second of the Olympics except for
Really?
I only watched 2 clips, and they were both the final seconds of the hockey games. I watched the final seconds of the women's gold medal match and then the final seconds of the men's gold medal match, which were both super exciting. I'm sure that those were fun games to watch. It was extra exciting for me because all I had to do was watch the last few seconds. Oh, I see Dave. Dave has jumped in to prevent Ryan from deleting the post out of spite. Oh, there we go. All right. Dear Alan, Dave, and Mike Meharry. Mike's not on the show this evening.
You assumed you would with the Olympics thing.
But
probably.
Mike actually will be our guest at the live event exactly the way he's been at every single one of them. He's going to be the guest again at this year's live event. So write this down and you can ask him. Does the U.S. men's hockey 2026 Olympic gold medal have an asterisk next to it? No. Because Russia was banned from the Olympics. Maybe. I mean, Alex Ovechkin and Nikita Kucherov couldn't compete. Well, they couldn't compete anyway because you can't compete with the red, white, and blue. Am I right? Except for their flags also red, white, and blue. And so now we have a standoff, I guess.
We need an eagle screech button.
Do we? What do we have that's close enough to that? I don't know. You guys probably don't know this. I removed a number of the buttons because I felt like they were holding me back from employment.
Ah, yes.
And we'll never know if that's what it was, but it's not what it was. Yeah, thanks to our sponsors at RT. Yeah, we're fans of
They could have taken the whole. They would have swept it.
I don't know. Well, doesn't it come down to like the US and Canada a lot though?
With those ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Hockey and curling. They're
but like
in that.
But like half of the Americans aren't Americans. They're, you know what I mean? Okay. We got a lot to talk about, and by that I mean we actually don't have anything to talk about. But there's a few things that I thought would be interesting for me and Dave to talk about, because I like to keep. I don't wade into these social media debates anymore, because who gives a shit? But I do keep an eye on what people are saying, because sometimes it'll just kind of like be an inspiration for an article I might write, and I did get some inspiration. So there was the two different like half Asian girls that dominated the Olympics this year. There was that Eileen Wu, who's from here, but she competed for China.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah. And then there was Alyssa Liu, who's also from here, but she competed for America.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people that were going on and on and on about, oh, you know, Eileen Wu, she's a traitor and she's not a real American, and how could she represent, you know, that communist dictatorship and blah 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 blah. And it's not that I don't get what they're saying. It's just that have you read the names of like 2/3 of the athletes that are on the USA team?
Yeah, it's they're all over the place.
They're not a bunch of like Williams and Johnsons. You know what I mean? No. It's in fact it's Lew's and Woos. So there's one part of it. Alyssa Liu and Eileen Wu are both from Columbia, Tennessee. That's correct. Yeah, we went to school together, all of us, here at good old Central High School, Columbia, Tennessee. I meant here as in America, Lyle, not here. God, I wish they were here. But my bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, me and Dave had a pre-show meeting. We weren't gonna go down that road. So it's just so funny to me that people are so critical of that Eileen girl for doing exactly what so many other athletes do, but for different countries. But since she was choosing to represent a country other than America, but from here, you know, that was a bridge too far. So I thought that was kind of hypocritical. And I understand that girl won a gold medal too. So like, she gives a shit. Dude, if I was an Olympian and you know, freaking Montenegro asked me to represent them in the Olympics and I won a gold medal, I wouldn't give a shit about what y'all thought. I'd be wearing that thing everywhere I go the rest of my freaking life. I don't care. I don't care. But another thing that a lot of people were talking about, and there's some weird stuff people bring up on social media. People were talking about apparently this Alyssa Liu's family. Like, so her dad was a Chinese dissident who was like all tied up in the whole Tiananmen Square situation. Oh. And he escaped China. And then apparently something about, like, they were making some eugenics arguments. They were saying that like he purchased embryos from the West because he wanted to have a Hapa daughter. He wanted to have a like half white, half Asian daughter. Yeah. And the funny thing is that on the one hand, you have people say like, "Oh, that shouldn't be allowed because that's eugenics. He was like trying to custom make a baby." And it's like, on the one hand, yeah. On the one hand, that is what you know, like, I feel compelled to say how stupid that is, except for that it's true. But on the other hand, it worked. You know what I mean? Like look at the picture. Like, you look at her when she won the gold medal. There's Alyssa Liu, for people that are wondering. So
Wow.
yeah, so I get that there's people that don't. Different people have different opinions about what should and shouldn't be. What is and isn't like culturally acceptable or whatever when it comes to that sort of thing. But I mean, in that dude's defense, he made that, and it's only a gold medal Olympian. Yeah, I'm sorry, she's only a gold medal Olympian. So I'm sorry, I did. Yeah, look at that. So I'm just saying, maybe just look into it. That's all I'm saying. Let's look into it. Trying really hard to dance around things that are going to get me sent to prison. But we're 20 minutes into the show already, Dave. Forget all that stuff I said earlier about it being real quick. But this actually did inspire an article, because I saw people that, and this happens all the time. There's some popular person, some public figure, be it like a celebrity or an actress, or in this case, an athlete, and people want to like impress their politics upon them, right? Like, oh, you're the current it person who's in the public consciousness. Well, let me make sure that you are a, model of my ideological beliefs, and that somehow that way I'm advancing my agenda because you're going to represent me. And that's quite frankly, that's rude. Like, who goes up, I shouldn't say this, but like, who goes up to someone on the street and it's like, oh, hey, you look like, you seem like a well-to-do person. Let's chat real quick to make sure you agree with all the same things I agree with. It's like, who does that? You just, but actually people do that. That's the thing.
That a lot.
and it's like, I think she just skates. I don't think she has a strong opinion on immigration policy. I think she just skates, because it takes a lot of work to win gold medals in the Olympics. I don't think she has time to, run for Senate or whatever the hell it is, you're trying to do. And so you had these left-wing people, and this is where kind of the inspiration for my article came, is you had these left-wing people who were basically saying, well, look at this. If it's, this is an argument for why we need to have completely unfettered immigration. We should have open borders, because if this were left up to you anti-immigration bigots, then we wouldn't have these lovely young ladies like Alyssa Liu here to represent our country and win gold medals. And it's like, okay, all right, boom, I got it. So I got my article now. So the article that I wrote that I think is actually coming out tomorrow on the Libertarian Institute is Not All Immigration is Equal, and Policy Should Reflect This. When Alyssa Liu glided across the ice in Milan to claim gold at the 2026 Olympics, the celebration was immediate and well-deserved. She is a remarkable athlete. New euphemism just dropped. What followed just as quickly, however, was a familiar rhetorical maneuver. The deployment of her story as evidence that America's immigration system needs no serious scrutiny. Liu's father immigrated from China, and within hours, the usual chorus had assembled. And I actually put a couple of examples in here that I saw with my own. I didn't have to dig these up. I was scrolling, and I was like, look at this dumb son of a bitch. So Nick Gillespie from Reason Magazine captured the sentiment on social media. This is what he had to tweet. By accepting large numbers of refugees, political, religious, economic, we not only improve their lives, we remind ourselves that America is exceptional, a country committed to freedom, self-invention, and a constant state of becoming. I don't know what that last part is supposed to mean, constant state of becoming, but it's a stirring sentiment. He checked all the boxes. However, as a policy argument, you know what all those words he just said mean? Absolutely nothing. And it's totally meaningless rhetoric. Alyssa Liu's story tells us something true and worth celebrating, but it does not tell us anything useful about whether America's immigration system, as currently structured, serves its citizens well. To treat it as though it does is not an argument, it's an anecdote dressed as one. So what's the question that nobody asks? You remember that movie that came out, like whatever it was, maybe a year or so ago, where it was like a comedy movie of if there was a modern day civil war, and there was that clip that everyone liked to play where the reporters say, "Don't shoot, we're Americans," and the dude says, "What kind of Americans?" So for advocates of immigration, the question should be, what kind of immigration? Because when you say immigration, that encompasses a lot of different human circumstances, skill levels, educational backgrounds, fiscal profiles, cultural orientations. Treating them as a single, undifferentiated good is the policy equivalent of saying medicine is beneficial and therefore concluding that dosage and type are irrelevant. The 2016 National Academies of Sciences report, The Economic and Fiscal Consequences of Immigration, which, by the way, is one of the most comprehensive analyses of the question. Its findings were nuanced in a way that advocates on both sides prefer to ignore. High-skilled immigrants, the report found, are significant net contributors to the economy and to the government revenues over their lifetime. However, low-skilled immigrants, by contrast, represent a large net fiscal negative when the costs of public services, education, healthcare, and transfer payments are accounted across generations. I'm going to skip down a little bit, talking about the labor markets and the people who bear the cost, because I think this is really important, and I think this is where a lot of the anti-open borders, anti-immigration people kind of argue from, is when you have a mass influx of immigrants, particularly low-skill immigrants, particularly from countries that are culturally much different than the United States, who bears the cost? Harvard economist George Boras has spent decades documenting what immigration's cheerleaders prefer to obscure. The benefits of low-skilled immigration accrue broadly and diffusely, while the costs fall narrowly and heavily on Americans most vulnerable to labor market competition. Americans most vulnerable are disproportionately low-income, often minorities, who compete directly with low-skilled immigrants for jobs. Wage suppression is identified as not just hypothetical, it's measurable, and the people experiencing it rarely get invited to write op-eds about the beauty of open borders. I see people, I can't read chat. There's too much shit going on over here. I just saw Somali over here. We're gonna get to that in just a minute. Calm down. When immigration advocates speak of economic benefits, they typically mean aggregate GDP growth, which is a real phenomenon, but it's also one that can easily coexist with significant distributional harm, where the gains flow to employers and consumers while workers at the bottom absorb the losses. A policy that enriches one group at another's expense is not obviously good policy. It is a redistribution, and it deserves to be debated honestly as such. All right, let's talk a little bit about that whole fraud and accountability thing. Look, if you could have just waited to the next section. Beyond labor markets, there's more direct costs. What?
Oh, I said, here we go. Getting into
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Polite company declines to discuss at length, and that is fraud. The Feeding Our Future scandal in Minnesota is instructive. Federal prosecutors have charged dozens of individuals, many with ties to the state's Somali immigrant community, with defrauding federal pandemic food assistance programs of over $250 million. Damn. We are in the wrong line of work, Dave. We need to get into fraud.
Fraud.
Yes.
It can't be that hard.
I feel like we're already fraud adjacent. We just have to. We just have to expand.
Like
Yeah. I'm sorry. One of the largest pandemic fraud cases in American history, because there's so many. It's ridiculous. Defendants allegedly submitted false claims for meals that were never served to children who did not exist. That's all we have to do. We just have to submit claims for services we don't provide to people who don't exist.
So we couldn't make our chili business and not make any chili. and serve it
Yeah.
to children that don't exist.
Yeah.
That's a lot easier. Yeah, because the
Yeah.
whole logistics of the actual shipping chili.
Yeah. Well, you have a weird last name. Just tell them that you're a foreigner and
Yeah.
you need assistance.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, if it makes you feel better, you're not even lying. You're just. Yeah. Oh, man. This is not a stereotype. It is a court record. It raises a legitimate policy question. When the United States accepts large numbers of refugees from communities with low levels of institutional trust, limited familiarity with American legal norms, and concentrated settlement in areas with robust social service infrastructure, what oversight mechanisms are actually in place? The answer, in this case, was evidently insufficient. The problem is not the ethnicity of the defendants necessarily. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's not. The problem is a policy architecture that admitted large numbers of low-skilled, low-literacy refugees with minimal integration infrastructure, and then surrounded them with federal programs operating on an honor system. This is not a policy failure. It is not pointing out bigotry. It's accountability. So let's talk about the educational and skills gap a little bit. Refugee and humanitarian immigrant populations from sub-Saharan Africa, including Somalia, as well as Haiti and other regions, arrive with educational attainment levels that are on average significantly below the American labor market rewards. And if you know how goddamn stupid most people here are, and you realize these people are twice as dumb as that, whew, I didn't, that's not in the article. That's just from me. Yeah. You probably should read the article yourself tomorrow to understand the difference between historian and author Alan and podcaster Alan. Anyway, this is documented by the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey and by analyses from the Center of Immigration Studies. Among Somali-born adults in the United States, labor force participation rates are lower. Oh, they're just coming here for work, right? Remember? The labor participation rates are lower and public benefit utilization rates are higher than virtually all other groups. Thought they just were seeking opportunity. It's weird. These are structural realities, not moral judgments about individuals. A person can be entirely decent, hardworking, and deserving of respect while also being a poor fit, though through no fault of their own, for a modern knowledge economy. The question is whether the United States immigration system is designed around the needs of the immigrants it admits or around the needs of the American citizens and existing residents it is supposed to serve. At present, the honest answer is that the system serves neither group particularly well, but it especially fails Americans, workers, more quietly and less sympathetically. But I want to address one more elephant in the room, because here's a rebuttal that you're going to hear a lot from maybe the Nick Gillespies of the world. Okay, restrict the unskilled, but welcome the best and brightest, right? The engineers, doctors, tech coders, these are immigrants who make America stronger. And to question their presence is to not just merely be wrong, but obviously so. We need more skilled labor, right? It is a satisfying argument, but it also elides a significant body of evidence about what high-skilled immigration, as actually practiced through programs like H-1B visas, does to the Americans competing in those same sectors. The H-1B was designed to fill genuine labor shortages in specialized fields. What it has become is a mechanism for labor arbitrage. The American Affairs Journal documented in 2025 that H-1B workers classified at the two lowest wage tiers earning 20 to 40% less than American workers in equivalent roles, a gap that is not incidental but structural, since employers are permitted to classify positions at lower experience levels than the actual work demands. Bureau of Labor Statistics data tells the rest of the story. Real STEM hourly wages were essentially flat between 2008 and 2023. Foreign-born STEM workforce, meanwhile, more than doubled between 2000 and 2019. So what does that mean? Now, this won't exactly come as a shock to anyone working in any industry, but wages have stagnated. That's what the first part of that means, is wages have stagnated, even for people like engineers. But the number of people, particularly foreign-born workforce, has doubled. So your wages haven't gone up a cent, but you're competing with twice as many people for the same job. Also important to note is the fact that immigrants working in America on H-1B visas are often dependent on their employment with the sponsoring company for their residency within the U.S. For anyone that's had to fill out a job application anytime in the last several years, you get that question on there of, are you going to need to be sponsored for a visa? Are you native? Are you foreign born? Are you going to need a visa? These people that are signed up in the H-1B program, they're being sponsored by the company they work for that holds the H-1B. So if you are if you're an engineer from another country, Dave, and Microsoft hires you and they ship you over to America to work at their facility, first, they're paying you 20 to 40% less than the native workers because they can. It's good for you. It's more money than you were making, but it put Americans out of work to take your job take their job at a cheaper rate. But you can't complain because they're sponsoring your visa. If you were to say, sorry, excuse me, sir, you're paying me way less just because I'm foreign, they'll just pull your visa and now you're getting shipped back. This opens the door to accusations of indentured servitude, as these foreign workers are more likely to accept lower wages while less likely to report wrongdoing at the workplace in order to avoid jeopardizing their status. Downward pressure on wages, a reluctance to report fraud and abuse, and a new underclass of easily exploited employees creates a worst-case scenario for both the immigrants and the native-born. Aaron says Dave has a new word to look up. Which one was it? I thought I was pretty good.
Arbitrage? Is that what you said?
There was that, and there was elides. Are you talking about elides or arbitrage?
I didn't even catch that one.
I
wasn't even sure I had the word.
Let's just use your context clues. It's fine. Then there is the less comfortable subject of academic integrity. Helen Andrews raised it in her September 2025 compact essay, How Asian Immigration is Changing U.S. Education. And the data she drew on is real. From a white paper from Holren Education analyzing over 11,000 student records, listen to this, you're going to love this. Nearly half of Chinese international students dismissed from American universities were removed for academic dishonesty, cheating, plagiarism. A Wall Street Journal survey of 14 public universities found that international students were reported for cheating at 5 times the rate of domestic students. A professor at UC Santa Barbara told the LA Times that Chinese students, who comprise 6% of the student body, accounted for a third of all plagiarism cases. Yeah, you got a new percentage to remember. No more 1350. Now it's 633. 6% account for 33. Oh man. Experts point to genuine contributing factors, language barriers, cultural differences, and norms around collaboration, and an industry of fraudulent application services that has allowed unprepared students to gain entry in the first place, with estimates that 90% of recommendation letters and 70% of essays from Chinese applicants are fraudulent. By the way, they're getting into these schools while your kids can't, by the way. Just letting you know that. None of this indicts individuals, but it does raise a structural question about a visa and an admissions pipeline that admits very large numbers of students and workers, in part because they are profitable to universities and they're cheap for employers. regardless of whether they are actually the best and brightest the program was sold on. If the honest concern is about serving American workers and maintaining institutional integrity, high-skilled cannot be treated as a self-certifying category that ends the inquiry. It should only be the beginning of one. Perfect. I see 633 is already in chat. We got a new racist dog whistle already. All right. Talk about the other elephant in the room. Demographics and voting. It is fashionable to dismiss as conspiracy theory the observation that mass immigration reshapes political demography in ways that benefit one party over another. It should not be dismissed. It is, in fact, a straightforward empirical observation documented by political scientists across the ideological spectrum. Pew Research data consistently shows that naturalized immigrants from Latin America, Africa, and Asia vote Democrat by wide margins. State-level analyses of naturalization cohorts and subsequent electoral outcomes confirm that high immigrant jurisdictions shift leftward rapidly. None of this requires a conspiracy. Politicians are not stupid. They understand constituency interests. An immigration policy that reliably produces future voters favorable to one's party agenda is a policy that party has structural incentives to support, regardless of what humanitarian language surrounds it. Acknowledging this is not paranoia, it's political science. The additional complication is that a non-trivial portion of immigration-related population change involves people who are not legally eligible to vote, but whose presence nonetheless affects congressional apportionment, since the census counts all residents, not merely citizens or legal residents. This means illegal immigration shifts political power even before a single illegal vote is cast, which is a constitutional design quirk with real electoral consequences that deserves serious public debate rather than reflexive dismissal. So we haven't talked a lot about illegal immigration up to this point. We've been talking about people with visas, legal immigrants. But let's talk about, we can't not talk about illegal immigration. It's not a subset of the data, it owns the debate. There is a distinction, frequently blurred, between legal and illegal immigration that the Open Borders faction would prefer to obscure. Whatever one believes about the appropriate level or composition of legal immigration, illegal immigration is categorically different. It represents a unilateral decision by an individual to violate the laws of a sovereign nation as the very first act of their presence in that nation. Former President Calvin Coolidge, whose immigration views are now considered retrograde in fashionable circles, put the defensive logic plainly. Restricted immigration is not an offensive, but purely a defensive action. Now, one need not share Coolidge's broader politics to recognize the coherence of that position. A nation that cannot or will not enforce its entry laws is not demonstrating generosity. It is demonstrating that its laws are optional, which is a precedent with consequences far beyond immigration. If you can immigrate illegally, who gives a shit about defrauding some healthcare or pandemic response funds or whatever? The population of illegal immigrants in the United States is estimated in the tens of millions, though some estimates run higher. A substantial portion of that population arrived from Mexico and Central America. Now, this does not make Mexican culture or Mexican people an object of criticism. It means that illegal immigrants, wherever they are from, are by definition in violation of federal law, and a serious enforcement posture applies to that population without regard to national origin. All right. So what's the right, we started with, so what's the question people aren't asking? So what's the right question? The immigration debate would be far more productive if it began with clarity rather than sentiment. There's every reason to believe that a neurosurgeon from South Korea or an engineer from Germany represents a net benefit to the United States. The data support that conclusion. There is also every reason to believe that the indiscriminate admission of low-skilled, low-educated populations with limited English proficiency, limited familiarity with American civil norms, and high rates of public benefit utilization represents a net cost distributed disproportionately onto the Americans least able to absorb it. These are not the same thing. You cannot use someone like Alyssa Liu as your poster child for open borders, because you cannot with a straight face say that an H-1B visa or an undocumented worker, or even worse, an illegal immigrant who can't speak English and immediately jumps on welfare is the same thing as a gold medal Olympian. These are not the same thing. When an activist insists that they are pro-immigration, the appropriate response is not applause. It is the question, what kind? Importing 1 million more Alyssa Lius would be a windfall for the country. It would. Importing 1 million more people with third-grade educations and no English into cities with strained housing, schools, and social services is a different calculation entirely. And pretending otherwise is not compassion, it is avoidance. That's right, Ryan. It would. Right to my closet. Immigration policy, at its core, should answer to the interests of the people already here. That is not cruelty. That is the basic function of a government with borders. All right, not the... They could just ride the back seat, Ryan. They don't have to be in the trunk. Yeah. Our politicians sell drugs and smuggle humans. Yeah. Correct. They are murderers and pedophiles. Correct. So, yeah. And also what Aaron said in chat. But we're not going to say that.
No, we all know it.
No. I mean, y'all know, you know. So she does look delightful, though, I gotta say. You know, this is a little bit off topic, but I miss a more traditional America where if you saw a delightful young lady and you were to say, "Oh, what a delightful young lady," people would just say, "Oh, thank you, how nice." But now it's like, "Oh, you're objectifying her. Oh, is she? you're just reducing her down to her aesthetic appeal." Ooh. But you know who the people are that say that? Are people who don't have any aesthetic appeal. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I've noticed.
I told a friend of mine, and I don't think this is a reach, so stay with me on this, because we have a minute. I told someone that Alyssa Liu is this news cycle's Sydney Sweeney. And I know they're very different people. They look very different. One's an actress, one's an athlete. They're very different people, but you're missing the point.
I was about to make the same comparison.
When Sydney Sweeney was she kind of burst forth into the zeitgeist. You know how sometimes it is you can kind of step back from news and you can look at it and be like, oh, this is what people are talking about. This is the thing or person. When Sydney Sweeney became the it person, and she didn't just start acting that day, by the way. She had been in Hollywood for a few years. She just wasn't as big of a star until suddenly she took off or whatever. You have these people so first of all, is she hot? Of course she's hot. Does she have large tracts of land? Obviously. But she also just seems like a happy person, right? Like every video or interview or see of her, she's just laughing and she's just living life. She's just raw dogging life every day. And yeah, and her boobies in Euphoria did it. Didn't we all experience Euphoria when we found out that show exists? But people, like the public at large, can't just let you be enjoy life You can't just be a bubbly, spirited person who's just, you know, high on life and is totally unashamed, you know, of who you are and what you're about. The morbidly obese, half-shaven lesbian population hates Sydney Sweeney. And they don't fool yourself into thinking that they hate her because that they have a political differences. That's not why they hate her. No. They hate her exactly because of what she is. They hate her exactly because of, like, the people who preach tolerance hate Sydney Sweeney precisely because she's a happy, bubbly person has absolutely no shame in herself. She knows what she looks like, and she flaunts it, and she doesn't apologize for it. And they hate her for that. It doesn't matter if she came out trotting out every single talking point from whatever political agenda they have. None, that wouldn't matter. See, that's the thing you got to understand. If Sydney Sweeney wrote the fucking Communist Manifesto 2 tomorrow, it wouldn't matter because they hate her because of what she is. And now Alyssa Liu, who's only like 22 or something, she's still a kid, and I don't mean this like she's not just an athlete, but she's just an athlete. You know what I mean? She's just an ice skater. She just skates, and people are like, "Oh, you're just happy because you skate, huh? You fucking bitch!" And I'm like, why are you mad at this girl? Happy. Yeah, so this is what happens. So she wins the gold medal. She skates over to the camera and says, "Let's fucking go." I don't know if you've seen that clip. She, you know, basically she's like a dude bro who's a hot Korean looking girl, Chinese looking girl, who also is a gold medal Olympian, and she's happy because she won, which that's what they're trying to do. I don't know if you knew this or not. They're trying to win, and she won, and so she's happy. She's contented in her performance. And then you have all these people saying, yes, but she failed to rise to the moment. What does that mean? What are you talking about? Well, okay, but she didn't speak out against, you know, just against, you know. Use your platform, yeah. Yeah, she didn't talk about what Trump said. Like, well, she was trying to win a gold medal. Like, you know why you don't have any gold medals? It's because you take time to talk about what Trump said. Because you don't have any time for that shit if you're trying to win Olympic gold medals. You have zero time for that. So the fact that she knows what she is and she absolutely unapologetically is living her life, they hate her for that. It wouldn't matter if she came out as a full-on fucking Nazi. That would be second place to what she is. That's what they hate the most. So she is now this current news cycle's bubbly, happy woman who is just trying to live her life. And that's such a weird phenomenon to me. There's also there's the political phenomenon of that. Jesus, Ryan. There's the political phenomenon of that. I just in my mind's eye, I just pictured Ryan looking like Ryan, and he's not mad, but he is holding like a stub-nosed 38. And he anyway, I don't know. You better have a weapon, Ryan. I think she probably could run faster than you. So anyway, there's also the cultural phenomenon of when there's a beautiful woman and everyone's talking about how pretty she is, people come crawling out of the woodworks to say, "Nuh-uh." Have you noticed that too? There's all these people who'll be like, everyone will be like, "Look at this girl's really pretty," and then there'll be dudes who will say, "She's mid. She's not that pretty, y'all." Like, and boy, I'm glad Ryan's here because he would remember this one. So dudes who a girl like her would not give the time of day are on the internet right now on Twitter talking about how she's not pretty. Like these dudes have never touched a woman in their lives, but they are 100% sure that she's not attractive. It's just so weird to me. I don't know what's wrong with this. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive for saying this. I'm going to end on this. Maybe I'm naive for saying this, but Have you ever known people in your life that one of the things that you remember most about them is that they're just a positive person? You know what I'm talking about? Like people who just
Oh yeah.
They just carry themselves with an aura of positivity, and they're smiling, and it doesn't rub you the wrong way. It's not disingenuous. You actually know like that's just a happy person, and they make people around them feel better. You know what I mean? Just by being themselves. And I've known people like that in my life, and I've always had a soft spot for those people. I've always thought that's nice, because when those people are around, it's contagious. Like it puts a pep in your step, because you're like, well, look at, it's like you're emboldened by how putting the right foot forward, that sort of thing. But we've reached this weird point in society now that when a public figure is like that, not just someone in your work office or workplace, but when a public figure is like that, people are just literally just peeling their own skin off. They can't wait to tear that person apart. Like, what? If I know anything, I know that if I woke up tomorrow and this program were like massive, we had millions of new subscribers, we were bigger than Joe Rogan, the first thing I would do is delete all of my social medias, and I would never look at them ever again, because I just wouldn't want to see what people are saying. I know you wouldn't. I mean, but I wouldn't even want to be subjected to it, because I know it could only go down from there. Yeah. I just noticed now Lyle said, "Me to a delightful young lady," but I can't see what the emoji is, and I'm scared to look it up. But anyway, let's wrap up the show.
All right.
Let's just quit this. Let's go away. Not forever, just for tonight. Yeah. Guys, we're going to be back to wrap up the show right after this commercial break. If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley. Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. But if you're more of a listener than a watcher, you get us on our favorite podcasting platform of choice, thanks to Spotify. It's Too Late with Alan Mosley or Alan Mosley TV. Don't forget to get your tickets to the 8th annual It's Too Late live show, happening Saturday, May 16th, the Riverband Ranch and Retreat. Not Columbia. Don't go to... Well, if you go to Columbia, you can go to Poncho's. But the retreat's in Normandy, so...
Good food there.
I love when people share emotes from our channel, because I've forgotten about them. So I'm actually being reminded that we have them. We made all these emotes that are references to bits from the show, but I feel like it's been so long since we've done so many of them that
days bygone.
Yeah, like there's the chocolate covered banana, which that represents a word that I used to say that I've tried to reel it in a little bit.
Reel that
in. Yeah. Dave, do you have a final thought?
Yeah, that was fun to talk about the Olympics. Like I said, I watched a lot of it, so I can actually, contribute at least a little bit. I didn't know that people thought that she was attractive. That when you started talking today, that caught me off guard. We could talk more about it in the after party.
She's cute as a button. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I don't have to feel weird about it because she is of legal age. So fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have to be careful. That's what I say.
No, for sure. You said it several times during the broadcast.
Yeah. No. Please.
Oh.
She has a invitation to the Chateau del Mosley Closet. And Ain't no Mosleys on Epstein Island. That's right. No, sir. You won't
Ain't on the
find me
list.
in there. No. Now, I haven't actually, like, searched my name on the Epstein site,
you don't
but
wanna
I'm
do
pretty
that.
sure. Nah. Yeah. After
You
party?
terrifying? Yeah, we got to.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about these figure skaters and what they look like. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week. I'm glad you remembered to hit the button. Yeah, I know. Maybe next week. Yeah, we eased you in this week. Next week, I'm gonna send you show notes with like 26 buttons. Yeah, it's just gonna be non-stop. It's just gonna be a slideshow while I'm talking. And you gotta do. Yeah. Yeah, you guys don't know this. At some point I just gave up on giving Dave directions and told him you'll just feel it. You'll just feel when it's right.